Okay, so hello and a warm welcome to all. Welcome to the Research Circle. Today we are discussing with our expert the topic that is commercial surrogacy in India. And for this, we have with us our today's expert, Dr. Sangeeta Kumari. Dr. Sangeeta Kumari is an assistant professor at Narayana School of Law, Gopal Narayan Singh University, India. So without wasting much time, let me welcome Dr. Sangeeta Kumari. You can start, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity to share my opinion and research on commercialization of surrogacy and making more and more people aware regarding this. As we all know that just before few days, Priyanka Chopra got a baby through surrogacy. Not only Priyanka Chopra, but there are several celebrities who got their offspring through surrogacy, even when they are able to get their own baby by naturally. And there are so many infertile couples of our society who need surrogacy but couldn't go through it, as nowadays surrogacy processes become very expensive. Today, I will discuss these issues and all aspects of commercialization of surrogacy. Sorry, actually, I am coughing. Okay, so men and women are beautiful creation of nature. Woman has been honored a precious gift of procreating life within herself, and every woman desires to feel the experience of motherhood. But unfortunately, due to some physical problem in either parents, some women could not be able to experience this beautiful gift of nature. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, perfectly audible.
Okay. Some parents are not able to get their own baby naturally. This urge of parenthood bring them in search of some alternatives like artificial reproductive technology ART, in vitro fertilization, IVF, etc., which makes hope into many parents who desires their own offspring. Advancement in medical science and technology, particularly assisted reproductive techniques, is a boon for them who are unable to get their offspring by natural process. First of all, I will explain what is surrogacy. A surrogacy is a process of carrying a pregnancy by a lady for some another lady unable to do so. In surrogacy, a woman gives birth to a child and hand over the child to another couple who can't get their own offspring due to some physical problem. According to Oxford Dictionary, surrogate mother is a woman who conceives and gives birth to a child on behalf of women unable to do so. The woman who gives birth to a child is called surrogate mother, and sorry. Uh, okay, and the whole process is called surrogacy. Etymologically, the word surrogate comes from the Latin word surrogatus, means substitute. Here in surrogacy, a woman takes place of another woman for birth of a child as a substitute. So the woman is called surrogate mother, and the whole process is called surrogacy. Worldwide, approximately 2,59,200 children are born every day. That is almost 3 children each second. The birth of newborn child is often a very special and fascinating event for all the people involved. Unfortunately, some couples, due to certain physiological conditions, cannot give birth to their own offspring. As I told earlier, Infertility affects about 1 out of 6 couples. This includes not just those unable to conceive after 12 months of trying, but also those that cannot carry a pregnancy to term. Since the 1970s, the number of infertile couples has increased. Some might argue that the reason for this is that this number only includes couples who seek clinical assistance for infertility. Over the years, the social attitudes towards medical intervention like IVF have changed. As a result, infertile couples have become less reluctant to seek help, which is reflected in the percentage of infertile couple registered by the clinics. Others do not fully share this opinion. Medical experts believe that women nowadays postpone childbearing because of career prospects and contraceptions. Sorry. Consequently, women are older once they start trying to conceive a baby. Older women are generally less fertile because of age related biological factors. Due to several reasons, such as the changing sexual practices, the use of intrauterine devices, more and more women are becoming infertile, which is leading cause of female infertility. For many infertile men and women, being unable to bear and raise children has severe emotional and psychological consequences. They often feel guilty, the experience a lose sorry and experience a loss of self-worth and confidence. Too many infertile couple, their conditions affects these their most fundamental feelings about who they are and what their role in the family is. It influences one's personal identity and the extent of fulfillment. For that reason, infertility is regarded a major health problem. Also, it makes it clear that why people who cannot have children the natural way look for other way in order to become a parent. In the past, couples unable to conceive were expected to turn to adoption to achieve their parenthood dreams. Nowadays, there are many options for infertile couples as well as singles and homosexuals who want children. The urge of parenthood leads them to seek alternative solutions, including artificial reproductive technology, ART, in vitro fertilization, IVF, and intrauterine injections, IUI. Advances in medical sciences and technology, particularly in assisted reproductive techniques, with techniques like donor insemination and embryo transfer methods, have revolutionized the reproductive environment and have led to an increase in popularity of surrogacy. With the introduction of financial agreements in exchange for the surrogate child, the child becomes sellable commodity. As a result, complications arise and questions must be raised regarding the rights of the surrogate mother, the child, and the commissioning parents. Sorry. Surrogacy arrangements do not only take place within the family, but also within the community, the state, and the country, and presently even the world. When it comes to surrogacy, there are two types currently used. First is traditional and second is gestational. Traditional surrogacy is done via artificial insemination with the surrogate using her own egg and another man's sperm. Gestational surrogacy is done via in vitro fertilization (IVF), where fertilized eggs from another woman are implanted into the surrogate's uterus. Choosing which route to take is one of the most important and earliest decisions a surrogate and the intended parent will have to make. Antagonists of traditional surrogacy often have a problem with the genetic link between the surrogate and the baby she carries. They would never be able to relinquish a child that they are genetically related to. Another reason to opt for gestational surrogacy instead is that some people might feel comfortable with their children having half siblings out and about in the world. Proponents of traditional surrogacy often argue that although there is a generic link, this link is not as important as the link between the commissioning parents and their child to be. Traditional surrogacy was previously the only way to conceive a child via a surrogate mother. Since artificial insemination is easy, not painful, and importantly, significantly less expensive than IVF, traditional surrogacy continues to be used by many people. Another argument for traditional surrogacy is the high success rate when the surrogate mother has proven to be fertile. Also, in general, traditional surrogates do not have to be on any special medication, keeping track of their menstruation cycle and timing the insemination around when they naturally ovulate will usually suffice. However, in order to increase the chances for twins or to fine tune the timing of ovulation, some surrogates do take some mild fertility drugs. Gestational surrogacy, on the other hand, is more complex and more expensive process. Nevertheless, the reason that an increasing number of intended parents settle on gestational surrogacy is because that procedure can offer one thing that traditional surrogacy cannot: the chance to raise a child that is genetically completely their own. Surrogates can carry embryo that have been created from the commissioning parent's eggs and the commissioning father's sperm. The eggs are retrieved from the intended mother and fertilized with the sperm, allowed to grow, then transferred via IVF into the surrogate's uterus. In some situations, the intended parents cannot produce the necessary sperm or eggs. If that is the case, a donor may also be used. There are many reasons why intended parents and surrogate mother choose gestational surrogacy. As discussed earlier, that surrogacy happened within family and friends. Known surrogates would give birth for infertile family members or friends. This was an altruistic deed, as these surrogacy were generally not paid for it. Over the last few decades, however, there is a noticeable trend of the commercialization of surrogacy. Some say that this is an undesirable development, as giving birth to a child should not be regarded the production of the commercial product. They feel that surrogacy is similar to baby selling and that a law comparable to the one prohibiting the sale of human organs should apply to the sale of childbearing. Others argue that surrogacy arrangements are win-win situations. On the one hand, the intended parents benefit from finally having what they have desired for so long. At the same time, surrogate mothers profit from the agreement through the opportunity to increase their economic solvency and are thus able to take better care of their family. Therefore, the needs of two desperate women are both met in a surrogacy transaction. It is often said that in the surrogacy arrangement, the barren gets a baby and the broke gets a bonus. The surrogacy mothers often really utilize the money they earn because they are from very poor family. Normally, surrogates are from very poor family. But the practice of surrogacy exploits women economically, emotionally, and physically. An important factor is that Most women who get involved as surrogates do so because they are in desperate need of the money to maintain their family. In addition, agents are often involved and arrange contracts of questionable legality. Those contracts require the woman to undergo all the rigorous and undergo all the rigors of childbearing, and eventually they have to give the child away. The surrogate mothers are often unaware of their legal rights, and due to their financial situation, they cannot afford the services of attorney. Once the surrogate mother has signed the contract, it is impossible for them to escape. The practice of surrogacy represents a new and unique form of slavery of women. During times of slavery, slave women were often used as birth or genetic mothers and as surrogate mothers nowadays, who possessed no legal rights as mothers. In light of the sorry, in light of the commoditization of the children and actually also of themselves, they have the same status as surrogate mothers have in contemporary times. Another similarly is that slave mothers could not speak freely about their pregnancy and the children they carried, an aspect that is also present in surrogacy as a result of social stigma. Surrogates are physically exploited once they have signed contract agreeing to give birth to babies for clients. If there is a reason to abort the fetus because of medical reason or client's demand, the surrogate mother must comply. To make matter worse, if the pregnancy is indeed aborted, the surrogates often receive just a fraction of the original payment. The contract can also place liabilities on the mother for risk including pregnancy, induced diseases, death, and postpartum complications. Opponents of surrogacy would like to ban surrogacy completely. Uh, some supporters would like countries to declare surrogacy fully legal. Neutral, which seems to have the upper hand, feel surrogacy is a controversial subject and also acknowledge that the present situation in which laws are non-existent or poorly enforced is unfavorable. There are more questions than answers. Lack of clearly defined regulations doesn't help either. In past, there has been such cases wherein cases have gone to apex court of the country. Take for example, Baby M case in USA. This is the very popular case regarding surrogacy. Please listen carefully this case. Mm, there are several issues which are not in the book, but when we discuss on this case, you will find so many complications during the surrogacy process. An American couple, William Stern and Elizabeth, could not bear a child due to their ill health. This could have been life threatening if they would have done so. William, being lone child of his parents, was under pressure for a child, so they decided to have child through surrogacy. Through a fertility clinic, Mr. Whitehead, who already had a child for her own, was selected as surrogate mother. She agreed to help the child, which in turn will help her financially. A surrogate agreement was made wherein surrogate mother will get $10,000 for a healthy child and $1,000 in case of miscarriage. because there will be chance of miscarriage also. As per agreement, the surrogate mother leave her rights over the newborn so that the childless couple could adopt that child. Mr. Whitehead gave birth to a girl child but refused to give the child to the couple. She even returned their $10,000. She, along with her family, even changed their residence to Florida to evade legal action. Later, Mr. and Mrs. Stern got the child in their possession with the help of court and New Jersey policy. Mrs. Whitehead went to Supreme Court of New Jersey. The Supreme Court was of the view that surrogacy is kind of selling child, which is illegal, and overturned uh, the lower court order gave Mrs. Whitehead the motherhood rights, as child by then was very well adopted by Stern couple family. She was allowed to stay with them, but Mrs. Whitehead got to meet the child as and when required with motherhood rights. There was varied reaction to this case worldwide at that time. Few were of the view that it was the judgment keeping welfare and future of the child, but others were of the view that only on account of wealth and money it can't be inferred that child will get good parenting. Just a few minutes. Okay. There have been certain controversial cases in India involving foreign nationals. Two of them are worth mentioning. In 2007, a Japanese couple, Ikufumi and Yuki Yamada, in desire of a child, contacted to Dr. Nayan Patel from Gujarat. He arranged for a surrogate mother, Preeti Ben Mehta, who was a married woman already having children. An agreement was made between the couple and the surrogate mother. Embryo made by sperm of Ikufumi Yamada and egg of an unknown Indian woman was planted in surrogate mother. Things went off as per plan, but in turn of events, a month before the birth of the child, the Yamada couple got divorced in June 2008. On 25th July 2008, the surrogate mother gave birth to a child which was named as Baby Manji, by whose father Narayan Patel was involved in the Baby Manji case. In spite of divorce, Ikufumi Yamada wanted to adopt the child, but his ex-wife refused to accept as she was not able to connect herself with the child in any ways. The agreement of the couple was um, uh, the agreement of the couple with the clinic, egg donor, and surrogate mother ended with birth of the child. In spite of having three mothers, first the desirous mother, second the egg donor, and third the surrogate mother, baby Manji ended up having no mother, a peculiar situation. The nationality of baby Manji was unknown. Neither the agreement nor the existence law laws had any solution for such situations. A day after the birth of baby Manji, there was a serial bomb blast in Ahmedabad. Keeping the child's safety in mind, she was transferred to Arya Hospital in Jaipur. As the custody of the child was not clear, the child stayed there for few days. Dr. Sadhna Arya from that hospital reacted to the situation by saying, "You have treated surrogate mother like an object, used her as a factory, produced something, given money for it, but result is a live child. I think this should end. There should be stricter law." An reaction which voiced the sentiments of many at that time. But good part was Yamda always wanted to take the baby with his Yamda always wanted to take the baby to Japan. He he ran pillar to post for getting permission for the same, but obstacles were many. Baby was denied Japanese passport as baby mother was not a Japanese, which doesn't make her Japanese as per Japanese civil code. Yamda tried for Indian passport, but that birth certificate was required. Birth certificate was denied on ground of mother being unknown and hence passport was denied. Yamda visa was expiring, so he had to head back to Japan. His mother, Imiko Yamda, came to India to take care of the child. She She hired a senior counsel and filed a petition in Supreme Court of India under Article 32 of Indian Constitution. Ultimately, baby Manji was allowed to be taken to Japan by the biological father and her grandmother. In another case, there is one more case of Israeli couple. A gay Israeli couple, Jonathan and Omar, got their surrogate child Evyatar from Mumbai. When they reached Israel, the child could not get his passport easily. Jonathan had to go through DNA test to prove himself as child biological father. Then only the child could get his Israeli passport. As a result of this case, the debate within India about surrogacy has intensified. In the controversy that followed, several infirmities in the arrangement came to light, including the absence of a legal contract between the parties, a fact that many saw as a worrying reminder of the potential for exploitation of native surrogates. These problems exist because surrogacy contracts are often not clear and hold no legal values. Furthermore, some countries lack specific surrogacy legislation. Those that do have these laws often fail to implement or enforce them. An explanation for this lies probably in the assumption that up until now, medical technology, especially reproductive technology, needed no justification. Its benevolent nature was taken for granted. However, with the commercialization of surrogacy, social, demographic, ethical, legal, and philosophical issues have been raised. As the debate have shown, these developments have the ability to alter not only the face but the very soul of human civilization. It might bring about the restructuring of society on lines of the reproductive brother model sorry, in which women can sell reproductive capacities the same way old-time prostitutes sold sexual ones. Currently in US, due to the fact that few states have developed legislation, disputes over surrogate parenting often go to court. Therefore, clear and enforceable laws should be implemented. Nowadays, a parent's surrender of of a child for fee, known as a baby selling, is a crime all over the world. In addition, many countries have regulations limiting and prohibiting compensation of intermediary related to the transfer of a child. Although gestational surrogacy is legal in several countries around the globe, in most jurisdictions it is not. Going to another country to avoid local prohibition is not always an option. Sometimes the nation's provisions apply only to that country's residents. People who want to take advantage of the laws in the particular country must therefore first establish residency there. In 1984, the world saw the first successful birth through gestational surrogacy. 10 years later, in Chennai, this happened for the first time in India. 3 years after that, in 1997, an Indian acted as a gestational carrier and got paid for it. In order to obtain medical treatment for her paralyzed husband. In the past couple of years, the number of births through surrogacy doubled. India is becoming the most popular country for fertile tourists, which is due to the number of interrelated factors. In 2002, the Confederation of Indian Industry published a study on the potential India has to develop medical tourism sector. This was picked up on by and on that time Finance Minister of India, who wanted India to become a global health destination. In order to stimulate this development, he came up with measures to facilitate the medical tourism industry, including infrastructural improvements, also hospitals that treat foreign patients were to receive financial incentives, including low interest rates on loans and low import duties on medical equipment. In addition, the Ministry of External Affairs introduced a medical visa which allowed patients and their family members to stay in India for maximum of 12 months. The tourism department teamed up with hospitals to attract foreign patients. During these years, fertility tourism has also increased in popularity. The reproductive segment of the Indian medical tourism market is valued at more than $450 million a year. These fertility tourists do not all come from Western countries. India is also a popular destination for medical tourists from Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Thailand, and Singapore, neighboring countries. At the moment, there are over 600 fertility clinics established in both rural and urban areas in almost all states of India. However, it appears that the state of Gujarat is particularly popular, especially among Westerners. It is not only the effort of India causing the increase in number of surrogacy births on the South Asian subcontinent. As previously stated, many countries around the world prohibit commercial surrogacy contract, and in other countries, the enforcement of surrogacy contract is significantly limited due to the restrictiveness of their own countries. Desperate couples cross border into surrogacy friendly countries like India to engage in a surrogacy contract arrangement here. While commercial surrogacy is also developing in other countries, another contributing factor to the rise in popularity of surrogacy in India is that the patient find it easy to communicate with the English speaking doctors. This also enables these doctors to promote surrogacy in the press. As a result, the press only runs glorifying success story and fails to pay attention to all the failed attempts. Clinics also sometimes use the media particularly the internet, to deceive potential clients. Their websites often contains facts and fictions as part of the marketing strategy, and it is not uncommon for them to encourage couple to ignore the implemented laws regarding surrogacy in their home country. The strongest incentive for foreigners to travel to India is most likely to be relatively low cost involved in the process. Most Indian surrogate mothers are paid in installment over a period of 9 months. If they are unable to conceive, they are often not paid at all, and sometimes they must forfeit a portion of their fee if they miscarry. As an increasing number of childless couples from overseas has come to India, legal experts express their reservations. Many foresee hurdles after the child's born because there is no law to control or regulate it. The real problem arises after the birth of the baby, since foreigners are unable to get legal assistance when it comes to taking their child back to their home country, which has caused problems in the past. There have also been problems with claiming parenthood. In rare cases, the surrogate mother has refused to relinquish the child. Therefore, surrogacy is both a threat and an opportunity. On the one hand, it gives infertile couples and surrogate mothers the possibility to fulfill their desire, a child, and the opportunity to take better care of their family respectively. On the other hand, there is a risk that with the commodification of children and parenthood, women are exploited and turned into baby producers. Several reasons for and against surrogacy have been given, and one cannot easily decide what is morally right and what is wrong. However, both opponents and supporters of surrogacy they agree that surrogacy poses a series of social, ethical, and legal issues. Although there are now some rules and regulation in place, not enough is done at a national level to protect the interest of Indian women who serve as surrogate mothers. The children they bear are those intended parents who travel considerable distance to commissioning pregnancy. In order to deal with these problems, all countries should come in one platform and make law, and this law should be implemented strictly to the world. I am giving you some history of the surrogacy, who has started this surrogacy, and he has to face so many problems while starting surrogacy. An American doctor, Robert J. Edwards, started the practice of artificial reproductive technique with his colleagues Steptoe. They started work on in vitro fertilization. This technique is used in surrogacy to make women pregnant. In 2010, he was honored by Nobel Prize for his achievement. On 25th July 1978, he gave birth to the world's first IVF baby, Louis Joy Brown, in Oldham General Hospital, Greater Manchester, UK, and afterwards surrogacy came into existence. The fact of the first childbirth by this process was a real milestone because it gave hope to the infertile couples and it offered a possible solution to the problem. Just after 2 months, on 3rd October 1978, India's first and world's second IVF baby, Kanupriya Elias Durga, was born in Calcutta. When the surrogacy was when this process was started, surrogacy by Dr. Robert G. Edwards, this was an artistic deed. But now in present time, after the commercialization of surrogacy, only the celebrities and the high status people and rich people can get the benefit of this surrogacy process, not actually the needy people, infertile couple are able to reach, because it is very expensive. It become very expensive in present time. Okay, that's all. If you have any queries or any doubts regarding surrogacy, you are free to ask. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. So I would like to thank all the participants who were live from YouTube and Facebook. So if you have any queries regarding the surrogacy and the related topic, you can directly comment in the description column, or you can directly email to Dr. Sangeeta. We'll try to provide the email ID of Dr. Sangeeta on our description column for to contact her. So at last, I would like to thank all the participants who were live here. And last but not the least, thank you so much, Dr. Sangeeta, for taking out the time. And we do respect your efforts instead of the uh, uh, instead of the all cuff and all the I must say not good conditions for all, because viral is going on everywhere, but still she delivered her best. So thank you so much, Dr. Sangeeta, and thank you so much all the participants. So on this note, I would like to conclude and end this session today here. Thank you so much, and
Thank you,
take
sir.
care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Take care. Bye.